Hello and welcome. In our previous lesson, we learned about importing data, creating relationship model, and we also looked at the overall overview of Power BI. Now, I would like us to move forward and start to learn how to visualize the data we imported using Power BI and compare this with the visualization we did with Tableau. Note that we have the data, we have the three tables, we have the orders, the people, and returns. We'll use these three tables to show how visualization is done in Power BI. Let us start with a bar chart. And in Power BI, we can visualize by just clicking on the field we want and start with category. You'll notice something appear here. That is, you'll notice a pen appear here, and we have the furniture, we have the office supplies and technology. Then we want to visualize the sales of this. We'll click on sales, and there we go. We have a table of categories and sum of sales. You can change this to any aggregate, that is the average, minimum, maximum, or count distinct, all variance, or linear that we want. Let's work with the average. After getting the table, we can now click on the visualization we want. In this case, we'll start by visualizing using a column chart. We'll click on the column chart, and there we have a nice and good looking bar chart that shows the average sales. The y-axis is the average sales, then our x-axis is the sales, is the categories. The categories, we have technology, furniture, and office supplies. Let's move further and try to customize this. We can change this by renaming the visual and say sales average. That looks better. You can see that changed along the y-axis. Then we can customize our visual by removing the grid lines. We don't want this. Let's uncheck that. You also have additional changes we can make. We can add the data labels. There we go. We have the average sales. Under columns, we can change the color of our columns. Since we just have the columns, let's work with this and say that we want the first column to be blue. Let's select the second and say we want to have this color. Then on the third, we want to have this one. There we go. We have a different color for each of the columns. We can also go to the general settings and specify that we want to change this. The title, average sales by category. We can increase the size and specify that we want this to be, let's say, font size 20. And we have Dean. For now, we can change this to any font we want. Let's work with the UI bold. We can also bold this further or make it appear in any way that we want. The text color is in black at this point. We can change this. We can also change the shading of the title. Let's see. There we go. We have a different background for the title. We can use a dull color in this case. There we go. And it's centered. Text wrap allows it to go to the next line. It's long enough. And we also have, we can add subtitles. We can add dividers and spacing. After that, we can add effects. We can change the background of the chart to, let's say, a color that we don't have in this. We can use that, and you'll see the background color just changed. We can now increase the transparency to, let's say, 50%, and we can add visual borders and all these shadows and so on. to make our charts look better and more appealing. A tooltips is the usual, that is the information you get from page, and in this case, we can add information or customize how it appears. Let's see, we can add that, and our tooltip will display that information. We have a tooltip, and there you go. You can see on pointing at this, we have a tooltip that meets our specifications. In some cases, we might need to change its background, but in our case, let's just have that. And we can reset all the setting by clicking on this and say reset. We also can add more information, like we might want the average line. Let's add that line. The average on sales in all categories is here, and we can see that office supplies sales did not meet the total average. Only the technology and furniture met that. We can also add a maximum line at the top and a minimum line at the bottom. And these are just specifications that may come in handy when we want to generate more information or insight from our chart. That's it for a line chart. Remember, we can always flip this and get a column chart that is horizontal, or just select the horizontal version and back to the bar chart, the vertical bar chart. All these are column charts, but notice in some cases, in this we have clustered, that is stacked. This is stacked also. This is clustered, and this is clustered too. Let's look at clustered bar chart. Clustered is mainly when we want to represent several fields. Let's see if we can work with, we can work with categories and shipment mode. And then we have the sales. Let's use the sales again and try to see if we can have that kind of chart. We have that kind of chart. This is what we call a clustered. You can see that the shipment modes are well represented in each of the categories. The first category we have in the first category we have technology and regions are well represented, the first class. Then we have the same day class, we have the second class, then finally we have the standard class. And we have a legend representing each of these at the top. We can customize our settings as usual. We can first remove the grid lines. There we go. Then we can change the color of but in this case, we already have the colors based on the shipment modes. And we can also change the title to whichever we like and customize that title using different font and font size, and customize that to our liking. We can also change the background of our chart to, let's say, this one, and our chart will look better. We can change the background of our chart by going Prot area background. We can browse an image. We can also change that under properties and effects. We want a background that looks like this. There we go. That's our background. Normally, the background we use or the branding we do on these charts must meet the specification of an organization. Let's say an organization uses green and black. Then we are most likely to use these colors in our shading, in our backgrounds, and any other areas that we want to brand according to that specific company. That's it. On bar charts, we have a usual bar chart, and now we have a stacked bar chart in this case. A bar chart is used mostly to compare different fields, that is different categories with one specific numeric field.